Hello to all of my beautiful people, my beautiful listeners and watchers. I will be speaking on a few things in which I'm very passionate about, and not really more so passionate, but just things that interest me. And of course, we will be going through the stories that have been sent in. I do a pre-reading of the stories because obviously we have trolls. So, I just read through them, get an idea of what the story is. If it's too long, then I'll summarize them to the best of my abilities. But anywho, I'm gonna give a brief rundown on what I will be discussing today, and get a drum roll, please. So, RDC CORYXKENSHIN, L and Light from Death Note. Whenever I get to talking about the anime portion, that'll probably be towards the end. Just started this podcasting, and my last episode I had spoke about Sukuna and Gojo. If you missed that one, you can go to my previous episode and catch in on that one without spoiling anything. I just want to say now, I didn't really say who I felt was stronger. After listening back to it, of course, the episode. And a lot of people, like I said in the episode, I'm a huge Gojo fan. People will say Sukuna needed the 10 shadows and everything like that. And he had the 3v1 and whatnot. Long story short, it's just based on who you ask. I'm very biased towards Gojo, so my heart will say Gojo is stronger, but my mind will say Sukuna. Heian era Sukuna is stronger. But that's besides the point. That was last episode. So for this episode, we will be speaking on that, as well as a viewer sent in a story about catching his father cheating on his mother. So we have a lot to unpack. And of course, there was one more. I'm so sorry. A jealous supervisor and what to do dealing with that. So we will begin with the jealous supervisor portion right after we get groovy, of course.
Deuce Radio.
Okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. So, the viewer, and shout out to all my viewers, or excuse me, listeners as well. I'll just call y'all listeners, right? That would be smarter to say because y'all aren't really watching, even on YouTube. It's kind of a listen type of thing. So I guess I'll switch that up to listeners. So this listener and supporter of Deuce Radios is actually from Louisiana. And shout out to all my Louisiana natives. I love y'all. Y'all got some real good food down there. But anywho, dealing with a jealous supervisor. The supervisor's been scheduling me during weekends, which I do not like to work. I don't have any weekends off for a month at a time. I've spoken to the supervisor and they've said that they make the schedule and nothing will change, and there isn't anything that I can do about it. Viewer went on to say a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm going to summarize this for you guys. So basically, the supervisor has been, as y'all heard, scheduling our supporter here for weekend shifts, and they're supposed to do a weekend swap, so a rotation on weekends where, so basically 4 weekends in the month. Kimberly here, which is the one who sent the email, is supposed to be working 2 weekends out of the month, but she has been scheduled 4 weekends in the month. As we know, it's 4 weeks in the month, so being scheduled every single weekend is infuriating, especially, people have things to do. So, well, to put it bluntly, the supervisor is, I don't want to say the word, but I think you guys can get the hint on what word I'm thinking of. It starts with a B, ends with a CH. So basically, to summarize everything Kimberly said is because there's a male coworker, and isn't it always have something to do with a male or a woman when it comes to things like this? Someone who has superior power over you typically do things like this out of jealousy. Anyways, so the male coworker likes our supporter here, and the supervisor caught wind of this and has never came out and said anything, but we'll just obviously assume, which is probably correct, that the supervisor likes this male. The best advice I can give on that is really, if this supervisor is going to be in this position, or if this supervisor has been in this position for longer than you, there really isn't anything that you can do, especially if they have ties with HR. I'm gonna give a brief story about something that happened to me. It's not really similar, but it kind of ties with the story, and I'll just say why the favoritism when it comes to, if you know people in the higher ups, plays a part in this. So I was working at this glass company. I was the best worker there. I was driving from Houston to Louisiana, Covington, Mandeville, Slidell. I was also hitting the shorter ones, Lake Charles, Lafayette, Sulphur, even going to Baton Rouge. Basically the whole state of Louisiana I was hitting. Even going all the way down to Gonzales, going to New Iberia, and then I was also hitting Dallas, San Antonio, Temple, Austin. Basically, I was the man. Never complained anything. The only issue that I had was with an older woman whose name I will not be saying, but I will be calling her, I'm just gonna call her Diva, right? So Diva was prejudiced. I'll say that. She was a Hispanic older woman. She was very old, maybe in her late 60s or 70s. Well, she didn't take a liking to me since I started working there, and I was at the company for about 3 years. Supervisors trusted me to do the heavier routes, even trusted me to train guys. They got me a hotel in Slidell for a week to train a guy over there, everything like that. Anyways, fast forward to one of the mornings, just to give you guys a description of how the job was. It was a big building where you had to clock in, and there was an employee lot, and there was another gate connected where they would park the trucks at, like Big 1, Big 2, Big 3. That's where they had the glass. It's like the warehouse where they had the glass, and where they would move all the trucks to park the trucks to load the trucks with the glass, because the company ran 24 hours, Monday through Saturday. To load the trucks, the guys who load the trucks went in at 7 p.m. And began loading the trucks for us drivers to be able to depart from. It could be as early as 3 a.m., 4, 5, 6 a.m. Sometimes the local guys will leave at like 6:30 a.m. Anyways, so on this morning, I forgot my badge to enter into the employee lot. The badge only worked for the employee lot, for us to park our vehicles and to let us into the building. It didn't work for the main gate that the big trucks would enter and exit through. And like I said, these were all connected. The employee lot was a little bit further down, and I don't have my badge, so I can't enter. So the main gate where the trucks are, there was some guys departing who had to leave a little earlier than me this morning. So I wait for them to leave, and I pull into the lot, right? So as I pull into the lot, I park, and one of the drivers there is my guy. Shout out to you. Can I say his name? Say his name. Shout out to you, Carlos. So Carlos is sitting by his truck, writing down all the glass that he has and whatnot. And I see Diva, the older woman who I described. And I have 5% tint all around all of my windows. And I drive a nice vehicle, some Mercedes-Benz. Not to flash, but I'll just say at the time, I was doing very good for myself. So I drove a AMG C-Class, not the higher end. But so she doesn't see who's in the vehicle, and I'm just looking at her. And again, I've had prior history with this woman, and I didn't want to communicate with her whatsoever. So anyways, she's talking to Carlos, saying whatever she's saying. And I'm sitting in my car. I'm not getting out until she leaves. So she ends up walking. She ends up walking away. So I get out my vehicle, and like I said, I need my badge to enter through the employee lot and into the main building. So I asked Carlos, I'm like, hey bro, can I borrow your badge to get in? And from where we are, it's real close to the front door. So he's like, oh yeah bro, like I'll walk with you, let you in. And as we're walking, he says, Diva, she's tripping. She was saying like, who is that? Do I know who that is? They can't be parked right here and whatnot. So I'm like, you know what? I don't really care. I don't have anything to say to this woman, and I don't communicate with her. I've told her in the past that respectfully, I don't have anything to say to you. There's nothing you can say to me as well, because you're not my manager, my boss, none of that. And I don't have any reason to communicate with you. If I need help with the route, dispatch, I have my boss. I have 2 bosses above me who I could call. So there's no point in me communicating with you whatsoever. She's an HR woman. And I told this to her face, but she still made efforts to try and speak to me whenever she could. Which I don't understand. Like, if someone tells you who you have no reason to communicate with, like, you don't have to speak with that person whatsoever at work, and they tell you, hey, I don't like you, let's keep it professional, don't speak to me at all. That's it. Why would you keep going out of your way to try and speak with said person? But that's besides the point. So I go into the building, I clock in, and as I'm walking out with Carlos, she calls out to him and she says, hey, Carlos, do you know whose vehicle that was? Yeah, my mic had died. Thankfully, I caught on to it. like before I got too far into the story, but I'm gonna try to speed it up before it dies again, and then I'm gonna charge it up, go to the gym, and then I'm gonna finish the remainder of the podcast. When I get back, I need to stop saying Oh, I hate that. Anyway, so from what I remember, I had to go back and check the recording. It basically ended off when we went to the building, and as we're walking out, she's asking Carlos like, "Hey, do you know whose car that is? This and that." And to fast forward and like summarize everything that I was saying, she was telling other drivers that it couldn't have been my vehicle. And they were telling me like, "Oh, well, it's because you're black." And they were Hispanic telling me this. They was being honest with me. And she thought that I couldn't drive a nicer vehicle like that, which was, just racist. But anyways, so I call, okay, so as I'm driving to, it's kind of a mind, like, my mind is all over the place because I've already told the story, but the mic died. So I'm going to try to do it quicker without yapping and giving too much details as I did before. So I drive into the employee lot and I text the group chat while the drivers are, and I'm like, "Hey, can someone come pull up and let me in? I don't got my badge on me." And thankfully my boy Ryan pulled up right behind me so he could start his shift or whatever. He lets me in, we both park, and we're walking, talking, and I'm telling him like the situation that happened right before he, like 5 minutes before, right before he got there. And as we're walking, guess who's standing in front of the main entrance is Diva. And she's yelling out my name and saying, "Oh, why did you pull in here to park and clock in and then go park?" Now keep in mind, if she was so concerned about me, quote unquote, stealing company hours, it took like 2 minutes. Take the 2 minutes on my check, right? All I did was pull in, clock in, go back into my vehicle, drive literally, 100, maybe 300 feet into the employee side, park my vehicle, and then drive, and then walk. So it took 3-4 minutes to do all of that, if that. So just take it out of my check. But anyway, so she's getting loud and I'm ignoring her. Like I've told y'all, with me, if I dislike you in person and I tell you this, I'm just going to ignore you. So I was just ignoring her. And she began to get irate. And she was saying, "Why are you ignoring me?" Just getting mad. So then she started getting disrespectful. What she started saying, what I felt threatened, was when she begins, not with my life or anything, but I'm talking about with my job, where she was like, "Okay, that's why you're going to be without a job. You're going to be without a job." And she was just yelling this. And I bust out laughing. Because I'm like, why? I'm thinking to myself, what did I do to this woman to get her so out of character? You know what I mean? And that's why I started laughing. And so she started just saying a whole bunch of stuff. And, "You're gonna get you fired, you're gonna be without a job." And she started saying some stuff in Spanish. And so that's when I got upset, because I'm thinking whatever you have to say it in a language that I can understand. Don't do all that. There goes the I just did. I'm gonna work on that. But anyways, don't switch the language to talk trash. You know what I mean? So that's when I get upset, and I'm like, and then she followed up by saying, "You can be without a job. You can be without a job." And I'm like, so I'll be honest with you guys, I did call her the B word. And she's like, "Okay, watch this." She goes inside. Whatever. Fast forward a little bit, I call my boss, I explain the situation to him, and I'm telling him, why would she say that? She's gonna have me fired. And this is on a Monday. I'm going to Dallas. From Houston to Dallas, the drive is about 4 to 5 hours to complete the route, whatever, and then drive back. So I'm telling my boss straight up, I'm like, "Say, if y'all gonna fire me before I do this driving and before I do this route for y'all, because I'm doing y'all a favor by delivering all this glass, 15 stops or whatever, driving 4-5 hours and then to drive 4-5 hours back." He's like, "No, she doesn't have that authority." And he was like, "I don't even know why she even said that to you." And he said, "Only me and the other supervisor for drivers can make that decision." He said, "Don't worry, I got you. Ain't nothing gonna happen." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Fast forward about 13 hours later, when I'm driving back, I'm about 12. I'm about 20 to 30 minutes back from the warehouse. My supervisor, the one who I called, the one who I just was I'm having a brain fart. The one I just was speaking to, the one I just told y'all, he told me that she couldn't fire me. He calls me and he's like, hey, so Diva, which is, the name that I gave the old witch, he's like, Diva said that you called her a bitch, and she says she's saying some other stuff, so we would just like to get your side of the story. And he said, can you come in tomorrow whenever you have time to give your side? And keep in mind, y'all, when he's saying quote unquote tomorrow, that's a Tuesday. I work Monday through Friday off weekends. So I'm like, wait, what do you mean come in tomorrow? Am I not gonna be on the schedule? Like, or you want me to come in before or after my route? He was like, no. The other person, which is, we're gonna call her Lisa, which is another person from HR, she said she wanted to hear your side and not to put you on the schedule until you give your side. And I'll be honest with y'all, I was telling him straight up, I'm like, bro, if y'all gonna fire me, because I'm not gonna come up here politicking and doing that high school he said, she said stuff. I told him straight up, just check the cameras. And he was like, well, the cameras didn't catch it and this and that, whatever. So anyways, next day I'm off. I sent a written statement of everything that happened, and I told him that I didn't feel like driving 45 minutes just to come to work, give my statement, and then go back home. Like, I'm just wasting my time at that point. So Tuesday I sent a statement. About Tuesday around 6 p.m. Like before 6 to 8 p.m. is typically whenever he will drop the schedule in the group chat. So before he drops the schedule, he texts me and he tells me, hey, Lisa said she still wants to speak with you in person to give your side of the story. And I'm like, what? I'm like, man, that's some BS. Like, I gave the statement, I gave the written statement, whatever. He said, well, I know, but that's what she's saying. And Lisa is another higher up in HR. If I didn't already mention that. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna come in. And the next day came. I was showed up around 1 p.m. or whatever time it was. And as I'm in the office, giving my side of the story, and it's only me. It's only my boss, who I was just referring to, Lisa, the higher up from HR, and myself. The diva, she wasn't in there. She was in the building, but she wasn't in the office with us. Because I told him the day before that I would prefer she wasn't in there. Like, I just wouldn't feel comfortable. I just don't like the woman from prior. Like, the stuff that she would say to me or about me in her language. A lot of these people who speak Spanish, they don't understand that I took Spanish in high school and I know Spanish, and to this day I'm still learning. There's a lot of stuff that I know that they don't know, that I know that they're saying some racist stuff about me. So I picked up on a bunch of stuff. But anyway, stuff I didn't want to end up, because when I first started, she was saying some racist stuff about me. So anyways, Lisa, so I'm giving the story and whatnot. Lisa is siding with this woman from the get-go. She's like, well, like everything that I'm saying, logically saying, she's like deflecting and making it out that I'm the bad person. So I already knew where I was. This is home field advantage for them. I'm in an away game. You know what I mean? Like, so she asked me a question, right? Listen to this. She said, did you spit on her? Now, y'all, I don't know about y'all, but where I'm from, spitting is the ultimate form of disrespect. If someone spits on you, they view you as you're lesser than the bottom of their shoe, because people spit on the ground. Like, I would rather someone slap me than spit on me, and I'm so serious. So when she said this, like, spitting, that's something I would never do to somebody unless I'm about to throw down with them. You know what I mean? When she said this, I was in so much of disbelief. I had to ask her 2 times after to repeat herself. She said, yes, spit. Y'all, I was like, bro, no. I said, did she say that? She said, oh, no, I'm just asking. I already knew what it was then. This woman went out of her way to make a fabricated story about me, lie, and say that I spit on her. Now, here's the funny thing, y'all. She had access to the cameras where this all occurred. We had witness statements from other drivers because I told them, as other drivers I was there, I named 3 or 4 drivers who was in the vicinity when this all happened in the morning. She got the statement. She said, yeah, we're going to speak with those drivers and this and that. I said, so why don't y'all check the cameras? Oh, coincidentally, y'all, here's what she said. Oh, the cameras is down. The cameras is down, right? So let's fast forward. The next day I went to work, but Wednesday, Thursday, next day I went to work, but Friday I was off because I went to see my woman, and this is her birthday month. So anyways, Monday, the weekend came around, Sunday came around, time to drop the schedule. I'm not on the schedule. I'm like, text my supervisor, why am I not on the schedule? He said, well, Lisa wants you to come in tomorrow again because she made a decision. So I told him straight up, I said, bro, if y'all gonna fire me, tell me now, because I don't want to drive 45 minutes to get fired. Like, that's disrespectful. Like, is that not, especially in this economy, gas prices up, the economy is going to shit. Like, at least have some form of respect. He doesn't respond, right? Get this, he does not respond. So then I text back, I wait like an hour or whatever. I said, you know what, I'll show up around the same time, 1:30. Same time I showed when I had the other meeting. This is where shit gets interesting, right? Listen to this. I show up, go in, Lisa, try to be all, oh hey, how are you? How's everything? Try to be all friendly. I sit down, she pulls out the paper. She says, I made the final decision. We're gonna terminate you. I said, oh, so you made me drive 45 minutes, wasting my time, my gas, everything to fire me. You're gonna terminate me. She tried to be smart. Well, this is company policy, and respectfully, and I said, respectfully, you got me bent. In this economy, all the gas and everything. Then I looked at my supervisor. I told him, I said, look, I told you yesterday, if y'all was gonna fire me, just let me know. Be a man and let me know so I won't drive. I'll be honest with y'all, he looked defeated. Like, he looked like, the best way I could say it is like someone who tried their best, but just was like defeated. Like, there's nothing they can do. Like, their hands was tied. And I seen the look. I seen him. He looked down, like he put his hand, like he just looked defeated. So I was like, okay, I know what's going on. He tried. There's nothing he could do. There's levels to this shit. There's levels to this. I said, you know what? I shook his hand. I said, I respect you. I said, you know what? Let me go get because they gave us fuel cards for us to carry. I said, let me go get my fuel card for my car. It's in my wallet. Went, gave it to him. Lisa had the audacity to say, oh, can you sign this for me? And do you have your badge? On my mama, I said, look, I looked at my supervisor. I said, I appreciate you for everything, and, hope you have a blessed life. I didn't say nothing to this woman because I already knew. Me back in the day, it would have furniture would have been turned over in that office. The disrespect that I was shown. But watch this, y'all. Watch this. They fired me, right? Now, keep in mind, I'm not even gonna name the company because I don't even want to do that. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna do it. Just for legal reasons. The next day, my boy texts me. He says they fired him. Another black man, Jamaican. There was only, out of the 25 or 26 drivers, there was only 4 black. The rest of them was Hispanic. After they fired us both, and the reason for them firing him was because he was sleeping in the truck quote unquote for 30 minutes during his break. They said he couldn't do that. Yet they told us that if we ever feel fatigued, it's better for us to sleep in the trucks than risk driving while we're fatigued, because they did not want an accident to occur. Because during the year of 2025 and 2026, like from 2026 from January to March, there was like 4 accidents. So anyways, they said they fired him because he was sleeping in the truck. Bro, I was like, nah, that's not right. That don't even make any sense. Why'd they fire me for that? Saying I spit on this woman and this and that. And the cameras coincidentally didn't capture anything. Or they're down lying. And the next day you fire him for sleeping in the truck. But other guys do it, and other guys even do the method. They do the finesse hour method, where they clock in early. Like, they say don't have to leave till 5 a.m. They'll clock in at 3:30, get that extra hour and a half, 2 hours on their check. Take an hour and a half lunch, and they don't tell them anything. But they get my boy for sleeping for 30 minutes. Now, watch this. They didn't post the job listing online, because I was looking for a job. Obviously, I got fired. They posted the job listing online. You know what they said on the job listing? And I still got the screenshot. It said, requirements bilingual. Spanish. Mandatory. They made it mandatory that you had to speak Spanish to work there, to be a driver. Ain't that some shit? That's dealing with racism and favoritism in the work field. The best thing to do when you experience that is just try to find something else, because these jobs will drop you like a wet bag and expect you to fend for yourself. They don't care about your financial situation. They don't care about your life situation. They don't care. Like, can you imagine if you just had a baby, or someone passed away, or whatever the case may be, and you need the job, and they just dumped you just like that? But then they expect you to give them a 2-week notice. So I know it's a long story time, but dating back to the original email, my lovely listeners and supporters, if you ever feel like someone in the workplace is jealous of you or mistreating you, just leave. You can report it to HR, but if you see that they're buddy and kiki kaka with HR, don't risk it. Or if you report to HR and HR tells you, oh, like, we've looked into it and we didn't find anything out of the norm or whatever, just go ahead and put in applications, try to find something else. And I wouldn't even recommend putting, I'm a big believer in no 2-week notice. Like, bro, you could fire me without any notice, but I'm supposed to give you a 2-week notice? Man, if you don't get out of my face with that, just up and leave. I don't care how people always unprofessional and I don't care. I'm gone. At the end of the day, you are here to look out for yourself. Not these people who will drop you. They don't even see you as human beings. They look at you as a number. They view you as a number and nothing else. You are nothing to them. Nothing. This company, there was someone who worked there. His brother passed away. I'm talking about the same company I was just told the story about. His brother passed away. They didn't give him no reimbursement. He was out for 2 weeks. They gave him no money reimbursement to grieve. Nothing. Christmas bonus, they give everybody $50. 50. This is a $1 billion glass production company. Always look out for yourself. If you're dealing with a jealous supervisor or someone higher than you, if you want to report it, you can. See what HR says. Because sometimes some HR departments, they'll be like, okay, we'll look into it. Okay, we see. And here's a funny thing. My boss, the one who had my back, he told me that I wasn't even the only driver who reported Diva. I wasn't the only driver who had an issue with her. There was other drivers who had an issue with her. Yet the fact that she knew Lisa, another HR higher up, it's kind of like high school. You just, nah, we have power now. We can just fire you. It's not right. That's just life. Anyways, we're gonna take a quick music break to, lower down the tensions and calm things down. But yeah, let's play something good for you guys. And when we get back, we will discuss CORYXKENSHIN. Be right back, guys. Hello, my lovelies. I'm gonna have to cut this segment shorter than everything that I wanted to speak on, simply because my mic, I need to charge my mic, and the current time is 1:54 a.m. and I need to edit this and try to get this out for you guys by like early morning or whatever. But I will try to briefly speak on some other things because I did get carried away with the story. But so let's touch on RDC. RDC, Real Dreams Changed the World. Mark Phillips, Desmond Johnson, Ben, Dylan Patel, Leland Manigault, Av. I'm not sure if AP is indoctrinated into RDC, but I believe RDC will go down as top 3 greatest YouTubers ever, especially for black folks. The things that they've done, the things that they've made cool. Back in the day, anime wasn't viewed as like what RDC's done with anime, like creating DreamCon and everything like that, and Anime House and the skits and even the short film. I mean, it's not anime based, it's kind of like superhero, but I don't want to read the name of the film. So let me go to the page. Okay, it's called The League of Extraordinary Heroes. Uploaded 7 days ago. 1.4 million views. Very creative ideas. Mark Phillips, very great writer. I see big things with him in the future, creating like films and movies. I mean, he already created films. He created Anime House. 10 out of 10. 5 stars. But just bringing light to anime, because anime was viewed as something that was nerdy and was nerdy back then, but now everybody's trying to jump onto the wave of anime being cool, which it always was, but everybody's trying to jump onto that wave because it's just hip now. But I think RDC played a big role in that, as well as Black Air Force Energy. They created that. Give Me a Ring, they created that, of course. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that they don't get credit for. And if we look statistically or whatever, you want to break the numbers down, or I believe they are the greatest YouTubers out currently. CORYKENSHIN could be thrown in there too. There's some other ones, but in my own opinion, those are my 2 greatest YouTubers. I'm very biased. Those are my 2 favorites. But yeah. To speak on CORYKENSHIN, since I brought his name up, he's doing his own thing now. I just feel like he could have been better with communicating with us, his audience, his viewers, his supporters, who love him and who we've loved Corey for years and years and years. And it's not even the fact that he doesn't upload. It's simple communication. We know he's busy. We know he's working on his manga. He's doing his own thing now. He's trying to dip into that field and do bigger things. But we know he's grown older. It doesn't look like he has that passion for recording and playing video games anymore. Even myself, I don't really enjoy playing video games, and I'm not even as old as Corey. So I'm 27. I'll turn 28 in a couple of weeks. It's the date of this recording, and my birthday is July 24th. We already know, but I don't know. I really love Corey. What he's done for me and everyone who's watched him throughout the years. He's a part of our lives, and I just feel like simple communication with telling us, hey, I need a break from recording videos, I don't have the passion for it, or whatever the case may be. Even if he streamed once a week, clippers would clip him, and people would, I know he's big on not having other people edit his videos, because Corey, I don't see anyone that could edit like him. People could, honestly, they can mimic him very good, but I don't think that he would want that. But just communicate with us, Corey. Communicate with your audience, your supporters. We've been here through everything that you've done, and the real ones, we won't switch up on you. We understand you're human. We understand that you have your own life, you have things going on, but just communicate with us and just tell us if you want to take a year or 2, or if you want to, whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, you're a grown man, but we've been here through everything, and we're still here to support you, regardless of what all of these other fake supporters say and trying to bash you online, and all of these allegations, these false rumors, and whatever. But that's just my take on that. Just wanted to say that and give my flowers to these 2. RDC as a group and CORYKENSHIN as an individual, and just what they've done for the black community is brilliant. I love them so much. But that was my take on that. And I won't be talking about light and L. I'll save that for the next episode. Sadly, y'all. That'll end the podcast, everyone. I really love you all. And I hope the yapping story in the beginning didn't put y'all off. It just had to say that. I never got the full story out. And I always told people that I wanted to tell that story, But again, everyone, if you want to be a special guest or call in, feel free to. And I really appreciate everyone tuning in, listening, wherever you're listening on.